Real quick before I start the video, I promise I'll be quick. Me and my boy Lucas are starting a podcast called the DAZN podcast. We cover MMA, boxing, combat sports, all that. So if you're into that, subscribe. It's a very similar format to the breakdown of Wade and Sensei if you're into that. The link will be in the description. It's not clickable, I'm sorry, but you could copy and paste it. Make sure you subscribe. You won't regret it. All right, what's going on, everybody? As we know, the Misfits Qatar card is later this month. And Deji still doesn't have an opponent. Now, it came out that he was supposed to face somebody named Joey Essex. I'm from the US, so I don't know who he is, but he's a celebrity in the UK. He was on a TV show, and he's also a DJ. Mams Taylor has also come out saying he's a pretty good trash talker, but again, I don't know who he is. So, like, I don't think it's, like, a bad thing, because I just think it's a US thing. Like, Misfits is mainly a UK audience anyways. So they'll know who Joey Essex is, but he ended up pulling out because he had a lack of experience. Deji would have dusted anybody, making their debut in boxing, because Deji is actually really good. Like, KSI has said multiple times, if he put in the work that he did, Deji will probably be better, which I agree. Deji's very slick. He's very defensively aware for how long he's been boxing. He has really good reflexes. He doesn't have the most power, but he also has decent combinations too.
Joey Essex, obviously the original opponent, pulled out, and I believe it occurred on that media day, press conference day. Can you walk us through how it fell apart and maybe the dissolving of that original matchup?
It would have been an interesting match because I think Joey would have brought vindictive and angry and more fun to watch side of Deji engaging in sort of going back and forth and actually fueling that fire inside Deji. So I think Joey would have brought that out because he's a great shit talker. And if Deji's on form, he can be too.
So I am glad that the fight got canceled, to be honest. I feel like they're cooking behind the scenes trying to get his opponent. But I'm going to give you who I think his opponent might be. All right, real quick before the topic. 96% of you guys aren't subscribed. It has gone down 1%, so you guys have been doing your thing. But if you guys like boxing, MMA, or influencer boxing content, I post 3 to 4 weeks on this channel. So if you like that, make sure you subscribe. Yeah. And as we know, Deji hasn't fought in a year. Last time was in like March in 2023 versus Swarms, which wasn't the greatest opponent ever, as that's aged.
Thrown much. Oh, big shots come forward. Oh, and he's down!
Which, to be fair, I do want to see Swarms back, so I'm not trying to, like, pile on him too much, but that was an embarrassing knockout. Even he knows that. And before that fight, Deji fought Floyd Mayweather. Bro, that's a real dude. That's a real sentence. Like, that's legitimate. I gotta say that. Deji has fought Floyd Mayweather, so God, Floyd just really going on a bender with taking these like exhibition fights. Like, he really fought Deji, bro. Imagine going back to like 2013 or whatever. I don't really know, but I only really started watching them when they started boxing. But imagine when Deji first started with like KSI, saying, yo, that guy's gonna face Floyd Mayweather, bro. Bro, that's crazy. It's still crazy to me. But obviously, they've been talking about the fact that he hasn't fought in a year, so it's probably gonna be a ring rust fight. Like, he's gonna get the ring rust off. Obviously, somewhere in between the skill of Swarms and Floyd Mayweather, which is a crazy spectrum to think about. But this is pretty hard to think about because it's a short notice fight, so it has to be somebody that has some boxing experience. They're not gonna get Danny Aarons. I know Danny Aarons said he would do the fight. He's just trying to get that bag. I respect it, but no, Danny, fight iDubbbz. That's more your level. Deji would destroy you, bro. I'm sorry. There's just levels to boxing. Like, I'm not even trying to diss Danny Aarons. I actually think he's a huge star in the making for Misfits if he stays locked into boxing. But you don't want to face Deji in your second fight. Like, get the rematch with that soccer player or iDubbbz or something like that. But Deji needs somebody that's already in Misfits, already fairly active, and somebody that can step in short notice. So I'm going to give a couple names of who I think it could be. First off, I'm going to go with the person that knocked out Swarms, and it's Ed Matthews. Now, Ed Matthews has gotten himself into some shit recently. He decided to collab with Neon, which is obviously a dumbass idea. I understand that you're probably going to get some engagement out of it. But the motherfucker literally view bots, bro. You're not going to get that much. I don't understand why all these influencers like Neon. I really don't. It's the biggest fucking clown. And Mams Taylor, please, dude. with time, once I build my audience, I want Neon's chin, bro. But I'm getting sidetracked. Ed Matthews punched Chase Demore at Neon's like stream house. I don't even know where it was.
Yes, sir.
Which was wild. Some people were saying it was a weak punch. It still somewhat stung Chase. You can tell, and he's a big dude. So a lot of y'all ain't eating that punch. And there's a reason why you're in Twitter comment sections instead of figuring out if you could take a punch or not. But anyways, I'm yapping. Let me talk about this matchup between Deji and Ed Matthews potentially. Now, Deji says he wants to get the ring rust off. I think Ed Matthews might be a little bit too good for that, but at the same time, he didn't want to face... Well, Joey Essex didn't want to fight. They did want to fight Joey Essex. But they can't get another debuting fighter in this short amount of time. So I think Ed Matthews makes sense matchup-wise because they both beat Swarms. I think that Ed Matthews will build up the fight well. I think that he's fairly active. He's out here punching Chase, so he's thinking about boxing a little bit, I would think. Ed Matthews' last fight was versus Pineda, which didn't go too well, to be honest. Bro, I'm sorry. The only reason why it's kind of funny is he had no idea it was going to be Pineda, bro. They gave him a mystery opponent and brought out like 3 different people, one of them being Swarms, one of them was B-Dave, and it ended up being the actual pro. And Matthews had no time to prepare for Pineda, a pro boxer. Oh, God, they did him so dirty, bro. Oh, my God. But anyways, I do think it will be a really good matchup. It will be wild throwing forward pressure versus good defense and counter shots. I feel like it would actually be a really good fight. It's just a question if Deji would want that in his first fight back. Could be a second fight. But if I'm being honest, like, do we really seeing Deji fight like 3 fights? I think he maybe said 3 fights, but it's going to be somebody before Alex Wasabi. I don't think he's going to do 2 people before Alex Wasabi, so I feel like Ed Matthews makes sense. Like, it'll prove something for sure. Like, he lost to Pineda, but again, it's a pro boxer. He has a very reckless, very hard style to fight against. If he shows his good defensive Jesus, fuck. If he can show his good defensive ability, I think it'll be very impressive against somebody that wild. So I think that'll be a good fight. All right, so for this next guy, I'm not going to lie, it's very similar reasoning, but somebody just came out of retirement that said he was retired for a bit, but wasn't really one of my favorite Misfits fighters. My second fighter that I think could face Deji is B-Dave. Now, B-Dave, as if you guys watch Misfits, as you know, is one of the more entertaining fighters in the ring. He's probably more reckless than Ed Matthews. Actually, I don't know. They're pretty tied, to be honest. They're both... I think B-Dave hits harder. B-Dave just throws hammers constantly, and he has an unreal gas tank. So I think him versus Deji will be a great fight for that. Again, B-Dave might be a little bit better than a ring rust fight. Again, I don't think Deji is going to get a fight where he could get the ring rust off and it's easy when it's this short notice. Like, unless they literally get somebody that's going to be training for 3 weeks and getting in there with Deji, which I don't see happening for this type of card. It has to be somebody like Ed Matthews, B-Dave. Like, it has to be somebody that's boxing somewhat frequently. Somebody that's already been on Misfits and will box a little bit. Like, they're going to want to have to put on a show. Even if they want Deji winning, like, they're going to want, like, a good fight. Like, they're not going to get a Joey Essex in, like, this amount of time. Like, the only people that are going to accept this fight are people that are a little bit trained already. Like, there's no way. All right, now for the third and final fighter that I think it could be to face Deji in this amount of time is Warren the Mechanic Spencer. As you know, there was a controversial stoppage against Ben Williams in their last fight, which was recently. Ben Williams is on this card against Jarvis. So Warren Spencer might want to get on the card to make a statement to potentially build up that rematch more, because it seems like it's going to happen, because that was one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen in Misfits, in UFC, or pro boxing in general. That stoppage was awful. But yeah, I think Warren Spencer really showed tools in that fight. The Ben Williams fight wasn't his first fight either. He fought 2 or 3 times before that. He showed good skill. Like, it was a scrappy fight, don't get me wrong. It wasn't the most skilled fight in the world, but he showed he's game, first of all. And second of all, he has some skill. He seemed really pissed off about the result. Obviously, anybody would. So I see him wanting to get on this card and build up that rematch with Ben Williams potentially. So yeah, Deji versus Warren Spencer. I'm with it. Like, people probably won't love the announcement, but if you know Misfits and know the fight between Ben Williams and Warren Spencer, you know it'll be a good fight for sure. Warren is scrappy, but not as scrappy as Ed Matthews and B-Dave. Obviously, they're really reckless in the ring. So I think Deji would like this matchup more than those two, just because that pressure will be hard to deal with any boxer. But yeah, I think that'll be a great fight. That's honestly probably my favorite. Like, I didn't even think about it till recently, like before I started recording. I think that'll be a great fight, Deji versus Warren Spencer. If Warren Spencer wins, if Ben Williams wins, that sets up a rematch. If they both loses, it sets up a rematch. One wins, one loses. There's still enough story where they could probably still run the rematch. Maybe Deji gets a title shot against the winner of Ben Williams versus Jarvis. Who knows? Because we really know that Alex Wasabi is on Deji's mind, but he wants a warm-up fight. And I think that Warren Spencer is perfect for that. So yeah, those are the fighters I think it could be. I couldn't really think of anybody else, so please help me out in the comments and let me know who you think it could be. Let me know what you think happens when Deji vs. Wasabi 2 happens. I'll eventually make a video when that fight gets announced. Now, once again, I'll be recording the first episode of the Day One's podcast with my bro, Lucas Acosta. We've been bros since day one, talking about combat sports in general, so we're finally making a podcast talking about it. If you enjoy the breakdown with Wade and Sensei, we're looking for a similar format with that, where it's easy to keep up with. So yeah, the channel link will be in the description down below. I still haven't figured out the link verifications, so you're going to have to copy and paste. I apologize. But the link for the podcast is in the description. If you enjoy listening to me yap, subscribe to that podcast. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to me yap like usual. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when I post. Peace out.